Scientists and medical researchers have for years differed over the exact definition of a pandemic. Is it a pandemic, or an epidemic? But one thing everyone agrees on is that the word describes the widespread occurrence of disease, in excess of what might normally be expected in a geographical region. Cholera, bubonic plague, smallpox, and influenza are some of the most brutal killers in human history. And outbreaks of these diseases across international borders are properly defined as pandemic, especially smallpox, which throughout history has killed between 300–500 million people in its 12,000-year existence. Here we will talk about the most widespread epidemics and viruses in history. Marburg virus. Scientists identified Marburg virus in 1967. When small outbreaks occurred among lab workers in Germany who were exposed to infected monkeys imported from Uganda. Marburg virus is similar to Ebola in that both can cause hemorrhagic fever, meaning that infected people develop high fevers and bleeding throughout the body that can lead to shock, organ failure and death. The mortality rate in the first outbreak was 25%. But it was more than 80% in the 1998–2000 outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as in the 2005 outbreak in Angola, according to the World Health Organization, WHO. Influenza. The worst pathogen in human history, however, is by far influenza. If there is a virus that keeps me up at night, it's influenza. I put it at the top of the list from a worldwide standpoint, says Dr. John Swartzberg, clinical professor emeritus of infectious diseases and vaccinology at the University of California, Berkeley School of Public Health. The main reason, this virus mutates every year, making it virtually impossible to fully defend against. Along with the death toll from the 1918 Spanish flu, misnamed as such because it was thought to originate in Spain after the country's king fell victim, other flu bugs have also been especially lethal. The so-called Asian flu pandemic of 1957–58 killed an estimated 1.1 million worldwide and 116,000 in the U.S. The Hong Kong flu pandemic of 1968–69 caused an estimated 1 million deaths worldwide and about 100,000 in the U.S. Rabies. All the rabies vaccines for pets, which were introduced in the 1920s, have helped make the disease exceedingly rare in the developed world. This condition remains a serious problem in India and parts of Africa. It destroys the brain. It's a really, really bad disease, Mulberger said. We have a vaccine against rabies, and we have antibodies that work against rabies, so if someone gets bitten by a rabid animal we can treat this person, she said. However, she said, if you don't get treatment, there's a 100% possibility you will die. Human immunodeficiency virus. HIV stands for human immunodeficiency virus. It is the virus that can lead to acquired immunodeficiency syndrome or AIDS if not treated. Unlike some other viruses, the human body can't get rid of HIV completely, even with treatment. So once you get HIV, you have it for life. HIV attacks the body's immune system, specifically the CD4 cells, T cells, which help the immune system fight off infections. Untreated, HIV reduces the number of CD4 cells, T cells, in the body, making the person more likely to get other infections or infection-related cancers. Over time, HIV can destroy so many of these cells that the body can't fight off infections and disease. These opportunistic infections or cancers take advantage of a very weak immune system and signal that the person has AIDS, the last stage of HIV infection. First identified in Democratic Republic of the Congo in 1976, HIV/AIDS has truly proven itself as a global pandemic, killing more than 36 million people since 1981. Currently there are between 31 and 35 million people living with HIV, The vast majority of those are in sub-Saharan Africa, where 5% of the population is infected, roughly 21 million people. As awareness has grown, new treatments have been developed that make HIV far more manageable, and many of those infected go on to lead productive lives. Between 2005 and 2012, the annual global deaths from HIV/AIDS dropped from 2.2 million to 1.6 million. Coronaviruses. Coronaviruses are a group of related viruses that cause diseases in mammals and birds. In humans, coronaviruses cause respiratory tract infections that can be mild, such as some cases of the common cold, among other possible causes, predominantly rhinoviruses, and others that can be lethal, such as SARS, MERS, and COVID-19. Symptoms in other species vary. In chickens, they cause an upper respiratory tract disease, while in cows and pigs they cause diarrhea. There are yet to be vaccines or antiviral drugs to prevent or treat human coronavirus infections. In December 2019, a pneumonia outbreak was reported in Wuhan, China. On December 31, 2019, the outbreak was traced to a novel strain of coronavirus, which was given the interim name 2019 nCoV by the World Health Organization, WHO, later renamed SARS-CoV-2 by the International Committee on Taxonomy of Viruses. Some researchers have suggested that the Huanan seafood wholesale market may not be the original source of viral transmission to humans. As of March 21, 2020, there have been at least 11,868 confirmed deaths and more than 284,566 confirmed cases in the coronavirus pneumonia pandemic. The Wuhan strain has been identified as a new strain of beta coronavirus from Group 2B with approximately 70% genetic similarity to the SARS-CoV. The virus has a 96% similarity to a bat coronavirus, so it is widely suspected to originate from bats as well. The pandemic has resulted in travel restrictions and nationwide lockdowns in several countries. Standard recommendations to prevent infection spread include regular hand washing, covering mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing, thoroughly cooking meat and eggs. Avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness such as coughing and sneezing. Stay safe. Situation updates. Research and guidance.